man, look what I just thought about.
What?
Look what I came up with, the helicopter hat.
Look at Dave redefined the concept of a propeller head.
Nice, man. We can put some zip ties or something there. And
I
we
like
get hot
it.
in the summer. Hey, hit the gas a
Let's
little
see
bit.
the little
get cold.
profile shot, Dave. Let's see. Oh, there you go. OMP M2 helicopter head. Nice.
Nice.
Very good.
I like it. That's an
right.
idea. We got to patent that one.
We got to strap that hat on and see if I can lift you up.
Oh, yeah. We'll do a 700 for that. All right, well, we're out of the field today. We're flying. I am trying to find John. Where is John? Hey, John!
Yeah.
Oh! Where are you at? I see you. Oh, you're thinking of the radio again.
We've got the OMP M2 EVO MK2 from Buddy RC. So before I get into the content, I need to let you know the video is sponsored by Buddy RC, who sent me this little EVO MK2 for review. And I thought we'd show you some of the new stuff with the M2. The M2's been out for a while. This is the Mark II version. This is actually the third generation. So we had the OG M2, then we had the M2 EVO, and now we've got the OMP M2 EVO Mark II. There's some neat little changes on this one, not the least of which is the ability to support CRSF as a protocol. So I'm running an RP2 style receiver with the little ceramic antenna, and it is running CRSF into the fly barless. This fly barless has been rewritten from scratch, from the ground up. Apparently they don't share any code with the prior version. You'll also notice there's a little dongle hanging off the side here, and that dongle is a Bluetooth dongle, and it will pair with your phone and the application you can download from the web. So I've got the OMP M2 app on my phone, and what I'm going to do is just plug the little battery. This came with the kit. It's a 750 milliamp 3S battery. I'm just going to plug that into the helicopter, and notice right away, the second I do, it says, hey, I found the device. Do you want to connect? And I'm going to hit yes. And once I've connected, now I can go into the FBL settings. It's still loading the parameters up, and there you go. So you can go in and change your gain for pitch, roll, and yaw, your rotation rate for pitch, roll, and yaw, very cool, your feed forward for pitch and roll, your expo, and there's some expert settings and mechanical settings. I want to show you the expert settings because of the way I do idle ups. So in the expert settings, down here on the bottom, I set mine to use software throttle, which means I control the throttle based on points in the radio. And I'll show you my setup in just a little bit. But I'm using 65, 75, and 85 for my head speeds, and the rest of it's controlled right here in the radio. So very nice app. I'm not going to change the settings out of the box, and here's a look at the mechanical settings. So if you need to reverse your servos or adjust your trim or change your collective, you can do that in here as well. And two different S-bus modes, wide and Futaba mode. So I'll be using CRSF, so that doesn't matter to me. All right, so I'm not going to change the settings. I want to fly out of the box to let you guys see how the helicopter does with the default settings. And now next thing we'll do is take a look at the radio real quick. So in the radio, what's really important in using CRSF is that we get telemetry. Notice that I've got a battery gauge here with 12.4 volts. I've got an RPM indicator, and I've got a current indicator and a capacity indicator. That's stock right out of the box. I didn't have to do anything except change the parameters for one of the sensors. And that information is actually in the book. I forget which one it is. I think it was the RPM sensor, came in with a different label. So you had to go in and label it. But here's a look at the telemetry sensors. You can see I've got GPS, which is 0, ground speed, heading, and I believe the heading is ESC temperature. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. Again, check the manual. There's the RPM. I changed the label to RPM. We've got RSS, of course, RQLY, which antenna we're on, RF mode, and all the standard Express LRS stuff. Down here on the bottom, we've got our current and our capacity. That's all coming from the fly barless. No extra sensors necessary for that. Pretty cool, right? So that's it. That's the new stuff on this model. New fly barless configuration, an app to control the fly barless settings, CRSF support for the receiver, and a Bluetooth dongle so you can pair it with your phone and configure your fly barless on the phone.
Hey, can we do that one more time, John? I don't think I like this take. Can we do it at least 2 or 3 more times?
Next, we're going to show you the mixer, Dave. Smart guy.
Cut.
Next, In terms of my radio configuration, I will share this in my Discord in the OMP channel. I've got an OMP sponsored channel. I will put my radio configuration in there, and you can download it from my Discord. I'm not going to host it anywhere else, so don't ask. In terms of inputs, real basic AETR, that's it on the input screen. And then in terms of the mixer, I've got channel 1, 2, 3. Channel 1 is A, channel 2 is elevator, channel 3 is throttle, channel 4 is rudder, channel 5 is express LRS arming. And notice on channel 6, that's also using the arming switch because that turns on the motor. And then channel 7, I always put the mode in 3D mode. I don't use any of the self-leveling stuff, so it's just mode for me. And then channel 8 is my idle up. And the idle up, it just reads the 3 different switch positions. I'm not even using a curve. So it's just negative 100, 0, and 100. Or in PPM US terms, it would be 988, 1500, and 2012. That's what you'd see on channel 8 to control the throttle. And that goes back to those expert settings where I said I was using software throttle control. All right, let's put the battery in, put the canopy on, and go fly it. Okay.
Can you say all that again? Wow.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were serious. I was like, is he kidding me? He's going to say it's not in focus. Or I just realized my thumb was in frame the whole time.
I don't got a thumb.
All right, in the spirit of full disclosure, before we started filming today, I did fly the M2 EVO MK2 just to make sure my radio setup was good. So this isn't quite the maiden, but it is the second flight. And I'll tell you one thing I noticed right away is the spool up time on this one is really quick. So watch the head. I'm gonna bring it on now. And it got up to speed really quick. But notice the tail held its ground. The tail did not move at all. I thought that was actually pretty good. And I've got voltage on my radio, and I'm running 3,870 RPM on the head speed. So that's idle up 1. Idle up 2, I'm at 42, we'll call it 4,200. Nope, looks like 4,500. And then idle up 3, we're at about 5,000. Now remember, this is a direct drive motor, okay? So it's gonna be spinning a little bit faster. So one of the very first observations I had was deadband. So I'll just do a couple little pitch pumps. And look at that tail. That tail's just locked in there. And I don't really have any deadband. It feels very neutral around center. So like no dead space. In other words, I transition from positive to negative fairly linear. No feel of dead space in there at all. And then the other thing that I started doing right away were some flips, and look at that tail. I mean, we have a little bit of a breeze. Dave, show them the windsock, just so they can get an idea of what's going on with the wind. So it's what, about 7 miles an hour maybe?
Probably, yeah, 10, 7, 10, something like that.
Somewhere in there. And that tail is just doing a great job staying locked in during those maneuvers. So I don't know what the heck they did to this fly barless, but I can tell you I like it. It feels very fluid. It's not robotic, it's not twitchy feeling to me. It just feels nice and clean and very linear, like very predictable. You guys know I'm not like an expert 3D helicopter pilot, but I can tell you in the little bit of time that I've had to fly this guy, I think it's been excellent.
2 minutes.
Tell you what, chasing the helicopter is a little more difficult than...
Yeah, especially the small ones because they're a little more twitchy. Oh.
It's very nice, very solid.
Yeah, it is, man. It
Very solid.
flies like a much bigger helicopter, I can
Nice.
tell you that. It feels Feels like a bigger helicopter.
Very nice.
Very, you know, I think with the small ones, they just feel kind of twitchy, and this one doesn't. It feels very fluid. And that's why I say it feels like a bigger helicopter, because the bigger ones, they just feel kind of planted in the air.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I feel about this one. I don't feel like I'm fighting with it.
Very nice.
Timer 1 elapsed. 11 volts.
Still 11 volts. I have just a little bit of time left. And there we go. That's my warning. So I'm
Okay.
gonna land. But yeah, M2 EVO Mark II, I'm impressed. I really don't know what they did to that fly barless, but I can tell you, for a little helicopter, it flies like a much bigger helicopter. All right, we'll bring it over to the bench and wrap it up. I just wrapped up my flight on the OMP M2 EVO Mark II, and I just want to point out a few things on the screen here. You can see I'm at 19 seconds over on the clock. I have my timer set for 4 minutes and 30, so we went to 4:49, so a little bit over. But on the battery, I'm looking at 3.77 on the voltage after rest. That's plenty of rest. And then on RQOI, we went down to 89%, so I kept it kind of close. Obviously, with that capacity usage and that rebound voltage, we had a little more flight time in there. But, you know, new helicopter, new battery, I like to kind of test them out and get a feel for them first. So that's it on the stats. Overall, I'd say I've always liked these OMP M2 helicopters. It was my first helicopter, the OG M2, and I've had one ever since, and they're just fantastic. I really like what they did with the fly barless. It feels like a much bigger model. I like the Bluetooth configuration on the phone, although I don't really see a lot of reason to get in there and mess with too much other than setting that software throttle value like I had set up on mine. Regarding telemetry, I'm really happy they did that. We've got our head speed, current, voltage. Those are really kind of necessary things on helicopters. They're kind of important to understand those. I'll remind you guys that Buddy RC sent me this OMP M2 EVO Mark II for review. If you'd like to pick one up for yourself, I'll have a link in the description. It is an affiliate link, so if you use my link, remember the channel gets a little bit of a kickback, but that doesn't cost you anything extra. If you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe, smash the thumbs up button, and hit the notification bell so you know when new videos hit the channel. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy.
Hasta la vista.
And go fly something.